Yo, what is up, everybody? Hope you bring guys a new video, and it's been quite a while. it's it's been so long. My hair's starting to grow back. Yeah. So there's a new Regulation J, and I kind of wanted to do a tier list. I've been playing it all day. I got up to top 10 on the showdown ladder, and it's been a time. I don't want to say it was a good time. It's been a time. It's an interesting format. It feels like honestly, it feels like Reg-I with Arceus instead of Calyrex on the Miraidon teams. That's all it is. That's kind of all it has been. The top of the ladder is basically that team, and you gotta figure out how to beat that team specifically, or else you just lose. So that's the way it be, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to get into this, and I added a lot of the restricted Pokemon, because if you don't know about the rule set, I'll explain it a little bit. You can have 2 restricted and or mythical Pokemon on your team. So it's kind of like Regulation G, where you can only have 2 restricted Pokemon, like Miraidon and Caly-I as your 2 restricted Pokemon. Then you can have anything else that's in the Pokedex that's not a restricted legendary or a mythical Pokemon. So now those mythical Pokemon get added to that pool of restricted Pokemon. So now you can pick 2 mythic Pokemon, no mythic Pokemon, 1 mythic, 1 restricted. So you can mix it up, and everything else that's in the dex is completely legal. So basically anything you can get in the game is free game now. So if you want to use a Pokemon, specific Pokemon, now's the time to do it. But yeah, there's some teams that have been better than a lot of them. Just like always, I mixed these up. Here in the back, we have the ones that aren't in the game. So we have Melmetal, Mega Diancie, of course, Genesect, Celebi, Zorora. If he was in the game, busted as heck, and Marshadow. Those are not in the game. So if those are some of your favorite, sorry, you can't use them. Sorry. But yeah, let's get into it. So we have top of ladder, late game ladder, mid ladder, low ladder. Of course, this is for right now for showdown, so I'm just kind of doing it from what I've seen on the showdown ladder. And we have Caly-I. So Caly-I's an interesting one because it sets up the sun. It's really good into some of both the restricted and mythical Pokemon, and it's good into a lot of the supporting casts, like Incineroar and Rillaboom. So it does have a pretty good place. It also activates things like Flutter Mane or Raging Bolt that I have seen quite a bit too. So it can do quite a few things, but I think it's more of a mid-ladder. Being at the top of the ladder, I haven't really seen it since I was like mid-ladder to low ladder. And overall, I think it's a pretty good Pokemon. Puts out a lot of damage. It's just its weaknesses are kind of rough, and in Trick Room, it's not the best Pokemon either. The ones I have been seeing were slower variants, so a little bit bulkier, but still, you're never surviving a Dazzling Gleam from Meganium. You're never surviving Dazzling Gleam from Diancie. You're never surviving a Moonblast from Flutter Mane. So there's a lot going on where this Pokemon's not going to survive. And if you do terrestrialize into fire type, then you become weak to some of the other stuff too. So it does make it a little tough. Diancie completely walls this Pokemon as well, like ridiculously well. So if Caly-I start going crazy, then we might see some Diancie up there. But next we have Defense Mode, Deoxys, and I think this is a meme. It's not very good. If it got like Wide Guard and stuff, it'd be pretty good. I think we talked about, I don't think it gets body press either, so it's not really doing anything with its defenses. Other Pokemon could play the same role, just use Zamazenta. Like what are you doing here? This Pokemon is just kind of meh. Just don't use Deoxys defense mode unless you're like trying to meme on people and you're like, I'm going to use defensive team, and you go with it. Gets recover, right? So you could do some stuff with it. Speaking of Pokemon that gets recover, Arceus. Now, Arceus has quite a few things going for it. Of course, extreme speed, normal Terra. I've seen Dark Terra, Perish Song versions with Perish Trap. I've also seen people going Fairy Terra, so Judgment's a Fairy type attack. So you can do quite a few things. I did lose to a Fighting type one, though indirectly it wasn't because of the Fighting type, because it does get Body Press. And Iron Defense. So you can use it that way, but just use Zamazenta once again. But this is a top of the ladder Pokemon. This Pokemon puts on a lot of pressure, especially next to something like Chen Pao. It just does about a bazillion damage, even when you don't really want to be taking that damage. It does have some weaknesses and some drawbacks, and that's going to be something like the Indeedee. If you can get your terrain to stick, your opponent's terrain has no factor, then that Psychic terrain is going to completely shut them out. They're usually running, Sword Dance Protect, Shadow Claw, and they're going to run, so they can hit the Ghost Pokemon, and they're going to run Extreme Speed. So your Indeedee can completely shut down this Pokemon, like, without question. And they're almost always Normal Terra, so if you go into it with a fighting attack, they don't really have an avoidance. Oftentimes, they're going to run another Ghost-type Pokemon on their team, so that way they can switch into it. I've seen a lot with Calyrex Shadow Rider, but its most common partner I've been seeing is that Miraidon. So just be wary of that, and yeah. Volcanion. I think Volcanion is probably a meme Pokemon. Its stats just don't, like, before, back in the day, great. Its move, great, except it's 95% accurate. Scald, still okay, sure, but the problem is its stats just don't hold up. Like, it's just weaker than Raging Bolt. So just use Raging Bolt. But it is a cool Pokemon with a cool design and a really cool typing. So if you're looking for something to do that's kind of interesting, this is probably a little bit above meme, but I've only seen it once and it just got like one shot. So like Miraidon exists, so it makes it harder to use a Pokemon like this as well. But yeah. Hoopa Baby. Hoopa Baby is probably here because its stats are actually pretty decent, but the other form is just strictly better. Like, so yeah, but it's a cool Pokemon. I really like Hoopa's design, both of the forms designs. It's actually probably my favorite mythical Pokemon. But yeah, Hoopa regular form, probably not going to use it. It does get some really cool tech moves like Trick Room, Taunt, it gets Knockoff, it gets, well, this one doesn't get Hyperspace Hole, so you gotta be careful about that too. And we did test Hyperspace Hole does in fact break Wide Guard, so you can use that effectively too. But yeah, just if you're gonna use this one, you're doing it because you want to use the Bebby, right? Lunala. I think Lunala is actually pretty decent. I think it's a situation that Lunala is always in. People look at it and like, it's okay. There's just better options at the moment, whatever. And then as the format goes on, people go, oh, wait, Lunala is actually really good. Wait, hold on. Let me try Lunala here. And it keeps going and that ball keeps rolling, and then Lunala is a good Pokemon. I think that's what this is too. I've seen quite a few Lunalas. My team is kind of weak to Lunala, so it definitely does well against me. But yeah, I think Lunala is very, very good Pokemon. Expanding Force is always going to be a danger, and Wide Guard helps you in a lot of situations, including against the next Pokemon, and that is going to be the Darkrai. Darkrai, of course, gets the move, and everybody knows this move. Dark Void, yes, and it puts both Pokemon to sleep. You use Gravity, Dark Void, they're in trouble. So you could do some stuff with Lunala, Wide Guard, other Pokemon sets, Trick Room, whatever, go Fairy Terra, one-shot this thing, whatever you might do, you can do it with that. But talking to Darkrai, it's only a Dark type. When I was like, in my 20s, my early 20s, I played the games, right? I played them back in the day, but I didn't like go for Darkrai or whatever. So when I saw this Pokemon, I was like, oh, it's a Dark Ghost type. That's pretty good. That's a good... No, it's just Dark type. So always remember that. It's only Dark type. You can hit it with fighting attacks. This is a top-of-the-ladder Pokemon, and there's a couple of reasons why. One, putting both of your opponent's Pokemon to sleep. Very, very good. Dark type, also very, very good. And then you have, his passive ability when a Pokemon's asleep, he actually hurts them every single turn. Very, very good. Then he has Dream Eater, so he can regain health back. So, what I'm thinking, and a lot of people aren't doing this right now, a lot of them are really fast, so you're trying to put them to sleep, so you Gravity really fast, and then you get attacks off. I think a slower Darkrai is probably better. And the reason why is because they don't get that first turn of sleep. You get Gravity up, then you're able to put them to sleep, and then you're able to Dream Eater them, and they take one turn of sleep. Otherwise, if you go first, put them to sleep, then they wake up next turn, and you go for Dream Eater, and you can't hit anything because they woke up. then you're in trouble. Then you're gonna get knocked out, and you're gonna have to go for another Dark Void, and then you get in this infinite situation now that both of the sleep turns are off. You don't know when one's gonna wake up, unlucky turns, stuff like that. So I think a bulkier version of this Pokemon is much better. People are pairing it with Sableye. I've seen people pairing it with Meowstic. I even seen Calyrex Shadow Rider actually use Gravity against me. But I have that secret tech. And if you came to my stream today, you would have saw that secret tech. And it's worked every single time. So, Skyform Shaman. I haven't seen this Pokemon. I think it's probably memes. And I'm just going to put the other Shaman in there too, like even lower, because I think this one's bad, right? It's just not good. It just doesn't have the stats. Being grass type doesn't really do anything for you. Like Rillaboom exists. I think this form also is flying, maybe. I don't know. I've never used Mythicals, really. I just used Victini last time and just was destroying people, so I don't know anymore. You can't use Victini. Victini's also not on this list for some reason. And if there are any missing, this was not my list, so I do apologize. But, yeah, it's just not good, right? It's just not good, so don't use it. Yeah. Calyrex Ice Rider. Calyrex Ice Rider, of course, does a ton of damage. It can set up Trick Room. It can, Leech Seed. We've seen a bunch of different things from it, right? Assault Vest, Clear Amulet, everything. Never Melt Ice. This is I don't want to say top of the ladder, but it's definitely a late game ladder Pokemon. I think when it gets to the top end, there's like a split where it's just Aravega with Calyrex, or you're doing like Calyrex plus Magearna or something like that. So there is a little bit of a split, and one of them is just Regulation High. So what does that mean for it? It means that maybe it starts to get power corrupt a little bit, the teams start to change, and maybe it drops down a little bit. It doesn't hit some of the Pokemon for super effective. It hits a lot of them for neutral or not very effective. It gets pressured by quite a few Pokemon as well. There is a lot of Annihilate out there with Final Gambit, which one-shots this Pokemon too. So there's a lot out there that is putting pressure onto Calyrex Ice Rider that you have to be very aware of, and it makes it much harder to use. But it's still a fantastic Pokemon, and it's right on the edge, I think, of being a top ladder and a late game ladder Pokemon that you'll see there. So yeah, you could definitely use it and get top of the ladder for sure. This Pokemon's still very good, and it can steamroll really quickly. Meloetta. I think you'll see Meloettas at the low table. They don't really do anything. I'm just gonna put both here. They don't really do too much. I mean, gaining the fire fighting type is fine, but there's already a scary normal type, and you can hyper voice. Cool. Serene Grace is cool. I don't really know what it has to go with Serene Grace, so do your own stuff there. But I haven't seen this Pokemon except once, and they sent it out, and the other person said Trick Room. Then they got Dazzling Gleamed, and then it was over. So I don't know. It's hard to use. All right, Eternatus. So Eternatus has actually a very good typing into most of the Pokemon that were added. At least it has something it can do. And I think this is a mid-ladder Pokemon. It's probably much worse than Koraidon. Koraidon's probably on the verge of being late ladder. But I think Eternatus can do some damage, though it does get walled by Magearna pretty hard. Like, you have to run Flamethrower and probably Terra Fire just to deal with Meganium. Because if you don't, you just have no way to hit. You can't hit it with Dragon moves. You can't hit it with Poison moves. So it's just a Pokemon that's avoiding you. So you could go something like Big Stall, but even then, how are you dealing with it, right? So it does have some of its weaknesses. It is a fun Pokemon to use, but I think you'll see it like low ladder to mid ladder. I think it does have some potential, and I always think Eternatus does. I just think it's an incredibly difficult Pokemon to use because its stats, moves, and typing are just so unique and just different that, it's easier to vie for a Pokemon that's easier to use and more consistent. So Next we have Terapagos. Terapagos does some really fun things in this format, like get rid of the weather and get rid of the terrains, and that's the important one. And that's why I think this Pokemon is a late game ladder Pokemon. I don't think it's quite up to where Caly-I is, but this Pokemon puts on a lot of pressure. It has a really good spread move. There's kind of less wide guard at the moment. We're seeing dropping off of like Zamazenta and stuff, so this makes it increase, but it is also a normal type, so it's competing for the same spot as Arceus is. I have seen teams where they're using the Fairy Arceus with Terapagos just to have that variation, because you can still extreme speed in normal Terra if you need to, but you're also not always that same Arceus type. So that's a pretty big advantage for that, but yeah, it's just a really tough Pokemon to use overall. But if you get it to work, like you're doing work. And right now, Calm Mind is very, very good. There's a lot of special attackers that were added, and this Pokemon is able to just tank hits, get those Calm Minds off, maybe heal up, and then do some more work. So yeah. Next, we have Zamazenta. Zamazenta, obviously, extremely good in Regulation I, and I'm gonna be honest, I think this Pokemon's mid-ladder at best. I don't think it's that great. It just doesn't feel all that great. Every time I face one, I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, sure. I don't care. And, I'm running a Pokemon that, well, actually they're both neutral to it. One's steel and one's dark, and it's just like, I don't care. I'm not even going to attack the Zamazenta. I'll just attack everything else and then knock out Zamazenta at the end. It also gets knocked out by Annihilate, so you gotta keep that in mind too. Wide Guard is very good. Like I said, it's hard right now for Wide Guard. Not a lot of people are using it, though there are a lot of spread moves, which I think is what makes Lunala better. Because Lunala can't get hit by that Final Gambit. It's bulky still, and it can set up Trick Room, so you do have some options there. And you can reverse your opponent's Trick Room if they are going for that as well. Because if they have Annihilate, they're probably going Trick Room. Ho-Oh. I think Ho-Oh does one thing good, and it walls Magearna, and that's it. I think that's it. I think it's a low ladder Pokemon, but if Magearna is like top tier, this Pokemon does extremely well into it, and you can start taking advantage of whatever your opponent's Pokemon's doing. Getting burns on stuff is really good. The physical attackers that are out there are weak and susceptible to that burn, so that's always a good option. It can heal itself up. You can use it in some of the big stally teams. You know what's not here? Penurchant. Penurchant's not here. Pecorant. Penurchant. No, not Penurchant. I did see one of those, though. Pecorant is not here, which we will rate. Like I said, and Zorar, whatever his name is, the monkey. He's also not here. If anything else is not here, once again, I do apologize. This was not my list. It was just the one I found. And yeah, so I think Ho-Oh's not that great. Diancie is pretty bad. It's really good into Ho-Oh. The problem with this Pokemon is it just is worse Zamazenta. It doesn't get the boost from like Zamazenta does. You can go for Body Press, but it's not really doing too much. Diamond Storm is incredible, though. It's one of the best moves ever created, basically. You get a +2 defense boost 50% of the time, which is huge. But other than that, its HP is 50 base, which is awful. That's so bad. And yeah, just use Zamazenta. Honestly, if you're gonna use this Pokemon, just use Zamazenta. It does get Trick Room though, so you got that going on for you. Oh, Victini is here. Zacian. I've seen quite a few Zacians, but I think it's mid-ladder. I think people are trying to make it work, but it just doesn't hit the same like it used to. It dies to quite a few things that are out there. Steel type is a targeted type at the moment too, so you're losing a lot of that effort. There's a lot of fighting types that can go close combat into you. It also gets knocked out by Final Gambit, so you do have to be careful for those too. Just kind of a target sometimes, this guy, because Yeah, he doesn't really hit any of the best Pokemon for super effective. Like, you can go Sacred Sword, sure. Sacred Sword, sure. Behemoth Blade, sure. Sacred Sword, sure. Doesn't hit this thing all that well. Doesn't hit this thing all that well. Sure. Doesn't hit this thing at all. Ho walls it too. But yeah, you just some of the top threats it just does nothing to. It's slower than them, or it just like doesn't output enough damage, or you get intimidated by Incineroar, so you're just roughing it. Manaphy, I think this is Manaphy. Is that yeah? Because this is Fion. Fion's down here, right? It's one of the worst. It's awful. Its stats are terrible, but so are Manaphy's. I think Manaphy's in the meme tier. You can do like credit where credit is due, right? It gets Tail Glow. Tail Glow, huge, right? +3. that's really good. You could do Surf stuff, right? You could do Surf stuff, but Hydro Pump misses, and that's its best move. That's its most damaging move, I should say, is Surf. You're never going to hit it. It gets eaten by Grass Terra, Rillabooms, stuff like that. So you can meme with it and have some fun, but overall, just not a good Pokemon. Mew. I'm putting Mew at the top of meme tier, I think, because it gets Transform. So you can go like Ghost Terra Transform and transform into Arceus, and then you just win the Arceus battle in the end game. So that's fun. You can do stuff like that. You can also transform into like Darkrai and stuff. So you could do quite a few things, but you can also have some attacks on like Ditto, right? Ditto can't have any other attacks. Ditto's kind of stuck just transforming, and then it just exists for the rest of forever. Though Ditto is still pretty good, and I haven't seen one yet, but I wouldn't sleep on Ditto. Honestly, I wouldn't sleep on Ditto, but I think Mew could fit a role where it transforms into things, but you are using your restricted slot. That's why it's a meme, because you're going to have a good time doing it, and it's going to be funny when it works out, but you're probably going to lose quite a few times. Next, we have Shadow Rider. And of course, Shadow Rider is going to be up here. I don't think it's the very top. I think these two are just better just because of what they're bringing to the table. But we're seeing a lot of Calyrex still up there at the top of the tables. And it's now going Fairy Terra because Fairy Terra is good against Darkrai. So it gives you an out to Darkrai. I'm seeing a lot of them with Darkrai. I'm seeing a lot of them with Miraidon. So there are some options going with the Calyrex Shadow Rider. I've even still seen Zamazenta. Once again, you can wide guard. I'm pretty sure. I didn't actually test it, but I think you can wide guard Dark Void. And if I'm wrong about that, I do apologize because I have a different way of dealing with it. And once again, if you didn't watch my stream today, you missed that. But on Monday, we will be back to do some more. But yeah, it's very good Pokemon. Still outputs a ton of damage. Just a bunch of stuff that's still weak to Ghost. A lot of things are Terra Ghosting to get past extreme speeds. So if you're running extreme speed plus Calyrex, then you can start to output damage onto those terrestrialized Pokemon, plus doing extra damage with extreme speed potentially. So because they can't Terra into Dark because then they're taking extreme speeds. They go into Steel, then they're taking Astral Barrages. So it makes it really, really hard, and you can't really get past both unless you're Zoroark, right? So maybe Zoroark will come back. Who knows? What are you doing? Sorry, my animal's making some weird noises. Okay. Keldeo. This is base form Keldeo. I don't think the forms are any different, right? They're so bad. That's it. They're just so bad. Their stats are terrible. They have the stats of like, I don't even want to say a pseudo legendary. Like I'm pretty sure they're just weaker than Goldango. So like just run Goldango. I know it's not a water. Goldango's not water type, but just run Goldango. These Pokemon are terrible. Don't look at those Pokemon. They're awful. All right. We'll save you. We'll save you for last. Okay. Jirachi. I think Jirachi is another one of these ones where it's kind of a meme Pokemon. It does get Serene Grace, Iron Head, but its stats aren't very good. Like Mew, I think they have the same stats. I think they're base 100 on everything, which is okay, which makes them pretty bulky, but you know, there's a lot of things that are already weak to the things like they can already hit you for super effective because there's other Pokemon that are better, that are the same typings, and it's just rough, right? It's just rough. This is one of the examples of where like Arceus can't hit it right now, but Calyrex is. But oh, now Utera, now Arceus can hit you, and but Calyrex can't. You know, so it's one of those situations. This is a regular. No, this is attack form Deoxys. Attack form Deoxys, I think, is probably here. I think it's mid ladder. I maybe I saw it more at low ladder. I don't think I saw any at high ladder. It just does a lot of damage. That's it. That's it. It has 180 both attacks, 150 speed. So it's speed timing with Calyrex. It gets expanding force. Like, you're doing a massive amount of damage. But it has 20 defenses and its HP's 50. So take that as you will, I guess. It's just feels kind of bad, like a fake out, like puts it to Focus Sash basically. Of course, it's usually run with Indeedee, though you can switch out. You can like run Incineroar, switch out your Pokemon, go into Rillaboom, fake out, and then your opponent just loses, right? Because now Grassy Glide threatens, like knockoff threatens. It's just kind of over. But an interesting Pokemon. It gets quite a few moves. It can do some damage. It hits a lot of things for super effective. It just can't survive the attacks. That's all. It can one-shot Calyrex though if you win the speed tie. Next is Kyogre. I think Kyogre. I'm gonna be honest. I've been seeing a lot of Kyogre at the top of the ladder. This thing is going hard up there, bro. It's really, really strong. It's just outputting so much damage, and you can just go so fast, put out so much damage. A lot of the new mythicals just don't live it, and the ones that do, like you're using other things to get past it, like your other restricted or your other mythical, and some of your supporting casts to get past that Pokemon, and then you're able to win with this. A lot of Choice Scarf out there, so it's just going really, really fast. You go Fake Out plus, whichever your preferred water move is, doing massive amount of damage, letting the Kyogre go down, and then just having a cleanup crew of either like, I've seen a lot of Arceus, I've seen a lot of Calyrex Ice Rider, I've seen some Shadow Rider on those teams, and I've seen Miraidons, and you just let them clean up the game, finish off the game, because you've already done what you needed to do. It's kind of similar theory to like Paris Trap, except you're fast forwarding 3 turns. And yeah, it's pretty interesting, and yeah, it's really, really strong and really annoying. If Wide Guard comes back, this thing is going to drop, which Wide Guard probably will be coming back sometime soon, and it'll start to drop. But for right now, my Magearna was Grass Terra, and I took a Hydro Pump, and it did 80%. So, well, it knocked me out because I only had 80%. It probably did more than 80%. And Magearna is pretty bulky, and my Magearna is pretty bulky. Next, we have Groudon. Groudon is actually pretty late game. I'm going to put it here because it is being ran with the Darkrai, because you just get double gravity usage, right? Both of your Pokemon are able to take advantage of that gravity and just use it to its fullest. With the Precipice Blades, the Dark Void. I've seen a lot of, turn 1, you're going for Dark Void plus gravity. Turn 2, you're switching plus, using whatever with Darkrai. And then you're going Precipice Blades and switching back into another Pokemon with your Darkrai, so you can like reset a cycle. And it's really, really fascinating how Groudon's like, his career history has been like this. It's kind of crazy. Speed Deoxys. Speed Deoxys is probably low ladder. It's very fast, and its stats are all in the 90s, but that's it. It's 180, so it's the second fastest Pokemon in the game, besides Aleki, which we could see some Aleki in this format. I think it has a place, but for right now, no Aleki. And this Pokemon it gets Icy Wind, it gets Shadow Ball, so it can one-shot Calyrexes if they don't Terrasilize, because they might not know, like if you're on ladder, they might not know that it gets Shadow Ball. So this is definitely a Pokemon that can help you get through low ladder, but maybe higher up in the ladders. Once again, it's kind of frail. It's not really outputting the damage. Just think of a Pokemon like Kingdra, right? If you were fighting a Kingdra, you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm so scared. You'd be like, oh, it's just a Kingdra. I'm just kind of knock it out, right? I'll take a hit from it and just knock it out back. And that's kind of what's going on. It's as if it's a Kingdra, right? Because Kingdra 95 speed, you double it, boom. It's basically this boy. Magearna. Magearna is top of the ladder because I'm on top of the ladder. I'm going to put it here. I do see some up there, but it is definitely not a common Pokemon. It is more towards the late game to mid ladder. But I think it's very, very good, and I think it's going to continue to rise in usage. It does so much damage, and it just snowballs. Because whenever your Pokemon or your opponent's Pokemon get knocked out, it gets a boost. So if you're using Annihilate with Final Gambit, you can set up Trick Room pretty easily. And not only that, but you're also getting off a... what's it called? You're getting off 2 boosts. You're getting Trick Room, 2 boosts, and you're knocking out one of their Pokemon, right? That's kind of how it's going. You can also bait them by just going for like U-turn and then going into a different Pokemon. And a lot of times that works. You can even U-turn yourself because it 4 times resists the U-turn from Annihilate. So you can do some cool stuff like that. So you're like, they're double protecting this turn 100% because they think I'm going to go for that. And then I'm going to be stuck out with Annihilate and it's going to look bad. But then you're like, nah, I just U-turned myself. And now I have Ursaluna and I have Magearna out. So you could do some really, really cool techs with it. Really good Pokemon. Really, really good Pokemon. I really like it. It doesn't have any cool like moves that it gets that other people normally don't. I've seen a lot of Fleur Cannon and I've seen just Dazzling Gleam. And I think you want to be running Flash Cannon. And a lot of them aren't running Flash Cannon. +1 Helping Hand Flash Cannon knocks out other Magearna. It also, +1 Flash Cannon also knocks out non-terrestrializing Calyrex Ice Riders. If you're +2, you can knock it out without Helping Hand, which is nice. So you could stop like Trick Rooms from going up because Torkoal is a big thing right now, and Magearna obviously is weak to Torkoal. So this gives you an out to Torkoal. Well, from them getting Trick Room up gives you out to Torkoal, especially if you run it. So the play, right, is you go for Final Gambit into their other Pokemon with your Annihilate, and then you go for the Flash Cannon. So you're +2 Flash Canning onto the Calyrex, and unless they're fire or water, they're going down. So really, really fun. Really cool Pokemon. I really enjoy using it. Base form Deoxys is for the memes. This Pokemon is not good. It's further down. It's just not good. It's 150 in its attacks, but if you're gonna do that, like it still only has 50 defenses. So if you're gonna do that, just run the attack Deoxys. All right, Hoopa. Hoopa's probably low mid ladder. This Pokemon is kind of frail, but also does a lot of damage, but also kind of not frail. Has 80 base HP, and it has 130 base special defense. And it has 160 attack, 170 special attack. And I believe... Oh, I can't remember. Its speed 70 or something like that. And it gets Expanding Force. It gets Dark Pulse. It gets Knockoff. It gets Hyperspace Hole, which breaks Protect and Wide Guard. It gets Trick Room. So you could do some really, really interesting things with this Pokemon. And it's very fun to use. But it just gets countered by quite a few things. Incineroar is just such a big Pokemon that it like eats this Pokemon. So you have to run a Terra type that can hit Incineroar. I've chosen for water with Terra Blast. It's worked pretty well. I've clicked 0 Terra Blasts into any Incineroar. So there you go. But if you need to, it is there. The Pokemon is also good because you're in Psychic terrain, so you're preventing a lot of things like Arceus and stuff like that. And if you can knock out Miraidon and you can keep that terrain for yourself, it's pretty much over. So really, really good. Speaking of Miraidon, the #1 Pokemon by far maybe ever created. I'm going to be honest with you. This Pokemon was a mistake. Like, giving us this Pokemon and not giving us, like, at least just Tapu Bulu. Just give us Tapu Bulu, right? Give us Feeny. Give us, Tapu Lele. Don't give us Coco though, but give us the other ones and like give us a way to stop this Pokemon, because this Pokemon is busted. They should have added another way to get like the other terrains up besides just it's basically Indeedee. And then they added Rillaboom, but it's basically Indeedee, and that was it. That's the only way to stop this Pokemon, and it's the only almost relevant way to stop this Pokemon now is just run Indeedee and set up Trick Room. Like sometimes you just have no other options against this thing because it's just so busted. It does take a lot of damage from a extreme speed, especially a +2, but this thing just destroys Arceus anyway. So you have to get a +2 by faking out, doing something. You like this Pokemon is not fun. But anyways, guys, that is my list. This format has and I should talk about the two that aren't here, right? Pecorant. I think Pecorant is a low ladder. There are some people using it in the later ladder, but it's super inconsistent and you need specific circumstances for it to be good. And yeah, it dies to a couple of Pokemon. Like, it can't hit Magearna because it just doesn't do anything to it. Like, poison attacks just don't do anything. You can't poison it, which means the confusion can't go off onto it. It's just a bad time. Pokemon like Ursaluna, it can't affect him. So, like, you're just like, sure. So it's pretty meh. And what was the other Pokemon that wasn't here? I don't remember. It's not good though. I don't remember what it was. It's probably good. But anyways, that is my list, guys. If you guys have any other thoughts that I didn't say here, or you guys are using a specific pair, let me know down below. I would love to hear that. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you guys thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you guys do so. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.